Creator was lonely. So he put his hands in the vastness and he swirled his hands around and swirled his hands around and swirled his hands around, and he created water. And he put his hands in the water and he swirled his hands around and swirled his hands around and swirled his hands around, and he created land. And he moved that water and moved that land and moved that water and moved that land until it was the earth. And he made himself small and he walked on that earth, and he pushed land up to be mountains, and he drew his finger through land to be rivers, and he moved water and moved land and moved water and moved land until it was as he wanted it to be. But he was still lonely. So he set about creating all the plant people, all the huge trees and the tiny grass and all the plant people in between, and placing them all over on the land and in the water and on the mountains and in the valleys, and each and every plant person that he placed, he told them, this is how you make your home. This is how you make your family. This is how you find your food. This is how you care for your offspring. This is how you travel. And every one of the plant people listened. From the tallest tree to the tiniest blade of grass and all the plant people in between, they all listened. The Creator looked around and it was so beautiful. All the plants, all their colors, all their brightness, but he was still lonely. So he set about creating all the animal people, from the tiniest ant to the great bear, from the tiniest shrimp to the great whale. And as he made each and every one of these animal people and placed them where they would live, on the land or in the water, he told them, this is how you make your home. This is how you care for your offspring. This is how you find your food. This is how you travel. This is how you be on this land or in this water. And every one of the animal people listened, whether it was the tiniest shrimp or the great whale or the tiniest ant or the great bear, they all listened. But the Creator was still lonely. So he went to the plant people and he asked, may I use some of you? I need to make some baskets. And the plant people said, Creator, you made us, you may use us. So he gathered and gathered and gathered and gathered some plant material to go make baskets. And he walked down to the beach to his favorite place, which is, of course, the Suquamish, a place of clear salt water. And he sat down and he wove two huge baskets, and he placed one on this side of him and one on this side. And then he reached into the land and he started making human people and placing them in this basket. And with each and every one of the human people he made and placed in the basket, he told them how to live on this land, how to find their food, how to care for their offspring, how to make their homes, how to travel, how to be on this land or in this water. Well, he soon found out these human people, they weren't like the plant people, and they weren't like the animal people. They didn't listen. So he told them over and over and over again, as he filled this basket full to the top and overflowing with human people. This is how you live on this land. This is how you find your food. This is how you make your houses. This is how you care for your offspring. This is how you travel. This is how you be on this land or in this water. Well, some of the human people listened to some of the instructions, but not all the human people listened to all the instructions, but he wasn't going to give up. He turned his attention to this basket and he lifted it up and he spoke all the languages that all the people were going to need. until this basket was full and overflowing with languages. And he looked back at the basket full of human people, and he picked up those baskets and he started walking. And he placed some human people and placed a language, and placed some human people and placed a language, and continued to walk. But he didn't forget, these human people, they're not like the plant people, and they're not like the animal people. They don't listen very well. So he continued to tell them, this is how you make your homes. This is how you care for your offspring. This is how you travel. This is how you find your food. This is how you be on this land or in this water. And some of the human people listened, not all of them. So he continued to place human people and place languages and place human people and place languages until he walked all the way around the earth and back to his favorite place, which is, of course, the Suquamish. Being worried about these human people, he asked the plant people and the animal people, if these human people get in trouble, if they ask you for help, will you please help them? And the plant people and the animal people said they would. And the Creator said, if these human people, if they get in trouble and they ask you for help and you help them, if they remember to say thank you, will you help them again? And the plant people and the animal people said, yes, they would. So the Creator watched, and he listened, and he watched, and he looked, and most people were making their homes, and most people were taking care of their offspring, and most people were finding food, but none of the human people traveled on the water. None of the human people traveled to other people to talk to other people. None of the human people found any of the food that he put in the water, and he became very worried about that. So he sat at his favorite place, the Suquamish, and he looked at the water and he looked at the land on the other side, and he thought, how can I help these human people travel on that water and find all the food I put in that water and travel and go meet other humans, and hopefully they'll talk. And if they talk, hopefully they'll talk about the original instructions. And just then, a giant, gentle whale came across the top of the water. And the Creator said, whale, may I use your body to help these people travel on the water and find all the food I put in the water and go meet others, and hopefully they'll talk. And if they talk, hopefully they'll talk about the original instructions. And the whale said, Creator, you made me, you may use me. So the Creator picks up the whale and slices open her back and puts some sticks in her back and picks up some human people and sets them in the whale's back and sets the gentle giant whale back in the water. Oh, and she carefully, gracefully carried those people across the top of the water until the whale did what whales do, and she dove way down under the water. The Creator rushed over and he picked up the whale and he picked up all the human people and set them back on the land. He took the sticks out of her back and healed her back and thanked her very much for trying and sent her on her way. Well, there he was at the Suquamish, looking at the water and looking at the land on the other side and worrying and wondering, how am I going to help these human people travel on the water and go meet others, and hopefully they'll talk, and if they talk, hopefully they'll talk about the original instructions and travel on the water and find all the food I put in the water. And just then, happy salmon came swimming across the top of the water. And the Creator said, Salmon, can I use your body to help these people travel on the water, find all the food I put in the water, and travel and go meet others, and hopefully they'll talk? And the salmon said, Creator, you made me, you may use me. So Creator picks up the salmon and slices open her back, puts some sticks in her back, picks up some human people and sets them in the salmon's back and sets her in the water. And that's the happy salmon happily, joyfully carried those people across the top of the water until the salmon did what salmons do, and she wiggled and wiggled and wiggled, all the people fell out. The Creator rushed over there, picked up all the human people, set them back on the land, picked up the salmon and took the sticks out of her back and healed her back and thanked her very much for trying and sent her on her way. There's Creator, the changer, the transformer, sitting at his favorite place, the suck web, the place of clear salt water, and looking at that water and looking at the land on the other side and worrying and wondering, how am I going to help these people? And the sun went down. Oh, he stayed there worrying and wondering all night, looking at that water and looking at the land on the other side. And the next morning was one of those foggy, misty, damp mornings. And he looked over there at the land on the other side, and the bushes were wiggling, and he looked, and out from the bushes came deer. And she walked down to the edge of the beach, and she looked at the water, and she smelled it, and she looked all the way across, and she stepped into that water, and she held her head up high and her tail up high, and she swam all the way across that water and stepped out right in front of the Creator. And the Creator looks at Deer and says, "Deer, I didn't know you could do that. May I use your body to help these people travel on the water and find all the food I put in the water, and travel on the water and go meet other people. And if they do, hopefully they'll talk. And if they talk, hopefully they'll talk about the original instructions." And the deer said, "Creator, you made me, you may use me." So Creator picks up the deer and he slices open her back. He breaks off her legs and puts them in her back. He picks up some human people and sets them in the deer's back and sets a deer in the water. And that deer carefully and gracefully carried those people across the water to go find all the food in the water and to go meet others and hopefully to talk.